Well, hello.
Hey, we're back.
We're back another week.
Yeah,
We're
another.
back.
Yeah, we're back. Not everybody's coming back.
Not everybody's coming back, and that's not a bad thing.
No, it's really not. So I
Not a
guess we're
bad thing.
starting right off with President Biden.
He has
Leader.
decided to bow out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Can I ask you, were you surprised?
Actually, yeah, I was surprised. Because up until this point, he's like, we need to keep our country in check. And um, it's been kind of said that Jill Biden's really been pushing him to run. She's been really been behind the whole, campaign this whole time. So yeah,
Yeah.
I am a little surprised that he dropped out this close to election day.
Yeah. I see. I think that we hear a lot about Jill Biden, and I
Hmm.
think that's interesting. I don't
Yeah.
know if there's, I mean, how could you ever know if it's true? I don't know, but I hear a lot of people talking about Jill Biden, and I'm like, but she's not the president. So,
Well, but we
uh,
do know that the first lady has a pretty, important role.
right, right. Yeah. I just think it's interesting how much we're talking about Jill Biden, but
And how much
regardless,
control she has.
right. I mean,
Mm.
right. Uh, I hear a lot of really not nice things said about Jill Biden. As much as, right, everybody keeps talking about, you and I had talked just last week about, you know, tolerating, President Biden, tolerating Kamala Harris, right? You said, oh my gosh, sometimes she's even more painful to listen to, like with speeches.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
I hear a lot of people talking about how much they dislike hearing Jill or hearing about Jill Biden.
Okay, going back to what you just said though, on how Kamala Harris speaks. Did you hear what's now trending because of that? Like what Charlie XCX has described Kamala Harris. It's actually pretty spot on. I don't the word that she used, I don't really get. It's very like mean girls and like trying to make fetch happen. She called her
Right,
brat, which is very much like the fun party drunk girl that like shows up at the party and is like of the life and kind of like you never know really what's going to happen with her and she's really smart but comes off kind of stupid and that's like brat like or whatever like okay.
okay.
And
No,
so now Kamala's embracing that in her campaign.
I don't think that helps. Like, I don't think that. I understand you're like turn it around and like use it, but no, don't do that. Like, keep your politics, your politics. Stop trying to be trendy. Stop trying to like, don't make jokes like here and there, pepper them in, okay, when they work, but like, just tone it back. Like, I understand that you're trying to get like the younger demographic, but honestly, you are trying so hard. It
But
is
that's
not
what it
working.
is, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, they have to get the younger demographic because that's what it was. Everyone was complaining about how old Biden and Trump were, the two
Right,
old white men. Well,
right.
now they have a young African American woman. Who are they going
Yeah,
to appeal to? The young generation. I don't
right.
know. I'm a part of the young generation, I feel, and I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy with the pick. What
No,
about you?
no, no. No, and I heard I was watching, so I had the news on all day again today, and I'm catching bits and pieces. I was really disappointed. I did not hear much about the head of the Secret Service that they did the Inquisition today. So I was disappointed, but I did catch like 18 times the same clip. I think it was CNN. They did like, talk to the people and go out there and just get some feedback. And the one clip that I heard like 18 times was
Yes.
yeah, was the woman who said, well, I'm really not happy with the pick either. I mean, for 2 years we really haven't heard anything about her, and now all of a sudden, boop, she's running for president. And I think that captures a lot of the sentiment that I hear. And I actually though was not surprised that it was going to be her, because who else could
No,
it be?
I'm
She
not
has the
surprised it's her either.
Right. She has the funds because she can dip into, from what I understand, right? She can dip into what is already in existence for the previous Biden-Harris campaign. Who else has that kind of money, that kind of, so quickly? Who else could they have picked? I mean, I
Well,
don't,
and she
and
raised $80 million in 24 hours. I mean,
right.
that in itself is impressive.
Mhm.
However, she's had 4 years to impress us, and what has she done?
No. As a matter of fact, I think that and I could be wrong, but my impression has been take the focus off of her. It's really been, oh no, Biden is in control. Biden is fine. Biden is doing it. Biden is single-handedly, the most amazing president that we've ever seen in the history of this country, right? Like it's always been like focus here, focus on Biden, because they were trying to cover up for the fact that for a really long time he has been stumbling. And you probably a lot of people are going to argue that from day one or for many, many years prior to the presidency, because I know there's a huge amount of people that don't like him. But regardless, I feel like they've been focused really hard on Biden to take the focus off of Harris. And now here we are like, no, Harris is awesome too. You should vote for
Right.
her. And there was nowhere else to go with it. But I was not surprised that he ended up dipping out, right? I mean, he's gone. I mean, literally gone. Like, oh, he has COVID and he sent a letter,
Can we
like a
please
nice
talk about
word.
that? How he
Please.
has COVID again. The man has had, what is it, 16 or 10 or I don't know how many doses of the COVID vaccine.
I mean, is it a commercial that like, oh, he's had his third dose of Paxlovid. Oh, he's had his fourth dose. Like, what? Why are you telling me so
Right.
like it's nonstop about how many Paxlovid. I didn't even know the name of it until he got COVID again.
But, right, again, that's the
Yeah.
thing. You keep getting COVID, but you keep getting the COVID shot.
Right.
Why?
Or, and that's the problem that nobody
You're not
believes in
selling me.
him anymore for good reason. Because it all sounds sketchy. Like, so you're sequestered again, you're doing your thing, you're in private, and you send out like a letter. Like this is a huge moment in history, in your history, President Biden, in our history as a country, and this is the letter, that you're getting.
Right.
And I heard some major news outlets saying, well, that's not fair. Trump always puts everything, in a tweet or, on social media or whatever. But that's a little different. A lot of networks really weren't covering him. They weren't giving him
Correct.
time, weren't talking to him. He was like blackballed, you know what I mean?
Well,
So he had to have an outlet, and that's where it was.
and if you remember, he had to create his own social media network because he got kicked
Right.
off of them.
Right. Truth Social, right? Is that his
Yeah.
network? That's what they're
Yeah.
talking about now. I don't know. I've never ventured.
I'm not on
But
it now.
no, no,
I can't. There's too much social media for me. I'm good.
no. Our
I
page
can't
clearly
even keep up on
needs its
Facebook.
own, and it needs to be on there so we can see. Because I'd love to see firsthand. Because I don't know. I don't know what's on there. And so it's not really the same, is it? When you're sending out a letter saying like I'm not going to run anymore.
Well, he's
I mean,
supposed to be making
coverage
an
time.
announcement in person. However, we have to wait until he gets better.
When will that be? And better from
Well,
what?
from
Real?
COVID.
Oh, COVID's the reason that
Right.
he's.
Yeah, we have to wait for the COVID to leave his body this time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I won't hold my breath. Yeah, have another sip of wine on that one. So this is another week. It's every week. There is something crazy going on.
Yeah, next week we'll talk about who her VP pick is because we don't have that much time. We have like 4 months until election day.
No. Yeah, this is close. This is definitely very close, right?
And
I think
that's
that
obviously why they went with her too, because who are you gonna, who are
there's
you gonna
no.
get?
Yeah. Though I did see, all right, I might be alone on this one, but I saw that they were talking about who is endorsing Harris. First of all, everybody on the Democratic Party should be endorsing her because there is no other option. You can't go
Right.
anywhere.
But they're not. Not everybody is.
Right, right. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think former President Obama gave her the thumbs up, right? He didn't.
Well, he didn't, but if you have to consider the fact that, Biden was his vice president and, he has to be respectful of that.
Biden threw it right over to Harris, Kamala Harris,
Well,
30
that's
minutes
different.
later.
That's him doing it. But you can't, Obama's not gonna, Obama supposedly was quietly behind the scenes saying that Biden needed to bow out. He's not
Right,
doing it loudly either because he wants to be respectful
right.
of Biden. And for that, he hasn't endorsed Kamala. But if you remember, for the longest time, he also didn't endorse Biden to run for president either.
I thought it was funny that they did mention like Hillary Clinton And then in the same breath, whatever network I was surfing through was like, also, she didn't make it to the presidency. So maybe we should point that out,
By the
right?
way.
I'm watching who's endorsing who, right? So we're talking about Trump in this election again. We're talking about Biden in this election again. We're talking about Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton. I mean, there was enough Bushes already, right? Like, do we really? Is this the best that we can? Is there like, what's this pool of candidates? It's like 15
Right.
people the next 25 years that are allowed to run for presidency. Where are we with this?
Well, we have another
Yeah.
Kennedy. How many
Mhm.
Kennedys are there?
A very elite crew that is able to run for presidency. I understand that funding is a big part of the process, and there's only so many people that have that kind of funding. Trump is a repeat again. He is. But I think that is a lot of the reason that people were drawn to Trump at some point or another, because it was like, well, you know
He's
what?
different.
He's different. Yeah, he's
And
different.
well, and on that point, when you look at the last 4 years, Kamala has been a part of that administration. And you look at the debt we're in, you look at the prices in the grocery store, you look at the gas prices, you look
Right.
at the border, who she's in charge of the border.
Right.
Are we really going to vote that in again?
Yeah. Yeah.
I honestly think they just handed it right over to Trump by naming her the candidate. I really do.
So for people that do vote Democratic, I feel like there's a lot of relief that it's not Biden, because as much as you may have
Oh, I
liked him
agree.
ago, now they can say, "Oh God, at least I don't have to like vote for like a bumbling old man. At least this person like can complete a sentence." So
Can she?
maybe they got a lot of those
Can
people back
she?
on board.
I still am not really sure
That's
that
all.
she can complete a sentence, really.
I watched her. There was something sports oriented today that she
Oh,
did.
forget about that.
I don't know. But she did address the, elephant in the room in the first few moments of the speech. I didn't pay enough attention to her because I didn't see this coming. If 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 2 months ago, I didn't see this coming. So I didn't pay enough attention. I was watching today when she did this address, whatever it was. It should have been something that was very low key, but obviously having all the events unfolding, she talked about what's going on briefly. And she didn't sound terrible. Like, again, just the process of, can you speak to a crowd? Can you, entertain an audience? Because really that's what we're talking about. And she did sound okay. And I saw the same thing with Vance. Again, I watched Vance, and I'm really not talking about content. I'm not talking about what you know, their full political careers, the weight of it. Just talking about right now, you're running for president, VP, whatever. People are listening right now, right? And both of them, I felt, were coherent. That's a step up. I know there's a lot of hate out there for Nancy Pelosi, a lot. And I'm just going to say she's not stupid, right? She's not stupid. When she was asked, when Biden was still running, she was asked by reporters, are you, supporting Biden as he continues to run? Do you think he should step away from the campaign? And she said, whenever he makes his decision, we will be behind him, supporting it all the way. And the reporters were like, no, he just put out a statement saying that he is going to run and nothing is going to dissuade him. And she was like, as soon as he makes the decision, we will be behind him. Like, what a political answer. Like, she knew that it couldn't be him. And she knew that she can't say no because it's not, he's the current president. She can't say like, we don't support him. What a political answer. She's not clever. Did you watch any of the Secret Service Cheadle Inquisition? Did you see any of that? I'll pretty much just say I'd love to hear more details about what happened, right? And I think there's a lot of people who asked a lot of questions who they would also love to know what happened, where's the failure, what went wrong here, and there's no answers at this point, and it's to me so frustrating that everybody is saying, well, she should resign. Well, I'd like to know what happened. And I think that a lot of people would like to know what happened. The American people would like to know what happened.
Right.
And talking about her resigning is just detracting from what happened. What happens? Let's talk about her career path at another point in time, because right now she is currently in charge, and we would like to know what happened. So everybody stop taking away from the main story, which is, an assassination attempt, and stop yelling about people resigning. I find this happens whenever there's like a big, massive screw up.
Right.
Everyone yells that the top guy or girl should resign
Or be
and
fired or whatever.
right. And I really don't care about your career path at this point. I understand people are like, hey, this shouldn't have happened and she shouldn't be leading the Secret Service at this point. Okay, whatever. We'll talk about that. But let's first find out what happened and how did this happen? Because when we don't have answers, we don't have any information about why this was allowed to take place. I mean, there's
Right.
a whole team of people that exists solely so that somebody doesn't get assassinated. And we had a very close call. Why?
And we now
And
know that his parents called authorities to warn them. We now know that I mean, obviously, we know he called out of work, but we don't know why. He just said he had something to do, so that we can't really connect. But we do know
right,
his parents called the authorities hours before. So
right,
where was that delay? What happened in those hours?
right, right. I mean,
You
there was
know,
like multiple accounts of, think it was like an hour beforehand, 20 minutes beforehand, 5 minutes beforehand. Like there was a lot of different alarms that should have gone off. Where was the breakdown and why? And when we don't answer these type of questions, everybody is on edge. Nobody believes the media currently. And this is just one of those things that happens that you don't get answers, you don't get the information that you need. And this one's maybe not because of the media, but now everybody's making up their own stories. Have you run into that, Rachel? Because I'm hearing a lot of, oh, Trump's team set that up to get more votes. Or, oh, the FBI, the Secret Service, they must have been in on it, right? When you don't come up with answers, people will make up their own. So you're leaving this open-ended and people are gonna fill in the blanks. And it's not gonna be right. That's what happens. And that's what's happening. Same thing with Biden, right? When you just send out a notice and say, like, I'm not gonna run again after all the talk that we've just heard, and you're not showing your face and you've got COVID again and yada yada yada. Well, guess what happens? People fill in the blanks. People don't believe whatever the situation is. In this case with Biden, people are coming up with their own stories again. I can't even think of what I've heard, but the things that you hear, it's like getting a little off the wall.
well, right. Like Jill is the one that's pushing him to run for president so she can be president. Like those are the stories that we're hearing.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And it's going
Mhm.
to be a Trump Kamala election.
Yeah.
Oof, buckle up.
And whatever direction it goes, whatever direction this goes, it is going to be loud. Nobody is going to be happy. There's going to be a lot of yelling on both sides when the day comes and we find out who it is that's going to be our next president.
Mm-hmm.
I that's going to be it's going to be a lot going on.
Well, luckily we have until January. Luckily, I say.
Mm, we'll see where this goes. It's not going to be good.
No, it's not. It's gonna be a train wreck.
Hmm. If it isn't already.
Oh, it's been a train wreck. It's just we're here for the ride.
Hmm. So the slow news next week will just be who's the VP pick, right?
Yeah,
I mean, what else could possibly happen?
Trump drops out.
No. There will be a tsunami in New York City before that happens.
Right. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
You've been listening to the History Last Week with Molly and Rachel.